Kris, it's the old cliche, every game in this league is difficult, but this is probably going to be one of the most difficult so far this season.
It will be, but I think obviously the thing that people are thinking about is Leicester's 8-game winning run. I think I spoke to Simon Francis this week, who said that run's got to end somewhere, so why not today? The form the Cherries are bringing into this obviously gives them some sort of chance. The pitch is, as we can probably see behind us, is very, very soft, so it's going to cut up quite easily. Leicester have got some flying wingers. The Cherries obviously like to play it wide and play fast-flowing football, although they had to tear that up on Tuesday night to get that win over Huddersfield. So it's going to be an interesting game today. Cherries acquitted themselves really well at the King Power early in the season. Went 2-1 down, had Elliot Ward sent off with 25 to go, and of course still hung in the game and only lost 2-1. So that was a pretty good performance that day, but Leicester are flying. So it's certainly going to, I think Cherries fans would probably accept a draw at this early stage. I
know you'll have done your research ahead of your commentary today. What do you expect from Leicester themselves, and how do you expect them to set up?
I think their key has been their wide areas. Lloyd Dyer on one side particularly is 31 years of age, but he's still rapid. He gave the Cherries fullbacks a pretty tough time. A knockout on the other side as well. Nugent and Vardy are both in the upper echelons of the Championship, top goal scorers, and their two central midfielders, by all accounts, have been the key really this year. Gary Drinkwater, former Manchester United player, among them as well. They've got a couple of big powerhouse units at centre-half in Morgan and A.F.C. So whether Graben's pace or the likes of Ranty could have an impact today against two sort of quite big, not cumbersome, but sort of big powerhouse centre-halves. Maybe that's where the Cherries can try and get at them today. But with Eunan O'Kane in the form he's been in, pulling the strings, they'll try and dominate midfield, hopefully.
It's been a very good transfer window for the Cherries, of course. They've got Jan Kermgan yesterday, fantastic signing. Do you expect to see him today?
I would have thought he'd probably be on the bench, if I'm honest with you, because he hasn't trained with the Cherries, all the toing and froing over the last couple of days to get him signed. He's a very interesting signing. I think he's a good signing. The couple of times I've seen him, including this season when he scored here. Of course, he scored actually in his last 2 games here, and he scored the winner against Leicester for Charlton earlier this season. So there's probably a script somewhere. Of course, he used to play for Leicester as well. So there's probably a script somewhere that suggests maybe he'll come off the bench and have some sort of impact. But he's a really interesting, different option. 6 foot, whatever he is, strong. He's something the Cherries haven't got. The biggest challenge for Eddie Howe, I guess, is how does he get him in the team? Because they've settled with the way they're playing. Lewis Graben up top, the 5 in midfield. So whether he opts to go more attacking at home and maybe a bit more sort of resolute away from home, that might be the way they go. But I'm sure we'll see him at some point today.
And a few injury concerns, as Eddie Howe confirmed earlier this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlie Daniels is probably the biggest one at left back. Obviously, they've got natural cover with Ian Hart, who came on and did well, and on Tuesday night took a bit of time to settle earlier in the season. Leicester's wingers are, as I said earlier, one of their potent threats. So if he plays today, Ian Hart instead of Charlie Daniels, he'll have his work cut out. Adam Smith, of course, is in the mix as well, available for the first time. So Daniels is probably the biggest injury concern. Ranty had a bit of a dodgy hamstring, but I think he's going to be okay, and Ryan Fraser the same as well. So we know Eddie likes to throw in a couple of injury curveballs to try and sort of put the opposition off. But I think Daniels is probably genuinely the biggest concern, because he's been pretty impressive this season.
And finally, give the score prediction.
Well, I slaughtered my colleague Adam Blackmore last week for sitting on the fence and saying 1-1 when they were going to play Liverpool. So let's go positive. Let's say the Cherries are going to nick it 2-1.
Thank you.